There's no platform that really thrives off negativity the way that YouTube does. This platform really made it possible to make a living as a hater. I mean, look at me. Anytime a big creator or celebrity messes up, we're always so quick to milk the living fuck out of it for clicks. I mean, again, look at me. So when we see someone who's a genuine positive influence in the creator space, it's quite a fresh breath of air. Nas Daily at one point was that fresh breath of air. At one point, he was one of the most unique storytellers on this platform. A creator who had a vision to change the world one video at a time. He shared some of the most amazing and inspiring stories that I've ever seen. Nas was a creator who YouTube really needed at such a dire time. A couple years ago, I would have bet some serious money that he was going to be the next Mr. Beast. No joke. He was just so different, and every single video he made was the highest quality stuff that I've ever seen. But before Nas could really reach his potential, he let his own ego get in the way. What started off as a journey to help save the world slowly started to turn into a big cash cow. Exploiting people, possibly faking charities, exploiting culture, lying to his fans. Nas slowly made himself less reputable day by day. A couple years ago, his videos were getting millions of hits on average, but now they can barely even scrap 100K. He gets flooded with hate comments every time he posts, and it doesn't seem like he really has much time before he officially hits rock bottom. Let's cut the bullshit and get right into it. Now, in 1992, Nas was born in Israel to a Palestinian family, and as you can imagine, this was a very interesting ethnical background for Nas. It created a pretty big conflicting cultural identity for him, and he struggled with it for a lot of his life. He had a really hard time fitting in as an Arab living in Israel, but the struggle would pay off for him as it was the subject for his college essay that he would use to get into Harvard University. And it was here that Nas would choose to be in an aerospace engineering program, which was pretty extreme. Like, that's some big brain activity. And in college, Nas would actually use these skills to make his very first YouTube video. He gathered a bunch of his fellow aerospace friends and they made a video where they sent a burger into space. He hit up a local burger joint to give them $1,000 to cover the costs, and they agreed to do it. And the video became an instant hit, getting over 2 million views. Now, this was back in 2012, which was still the earliest days of YouTube, so this was extremely unique. This was actually covered up by a lot of news stations, and even Jay Leno talked about it. For a first ever YouTube video, safe to say, it was pretty fucking good. But Nas didn't really see this as a continuous thing and actually didn't upload for another 2 years. His very next video would actually be a video where he got 30 different people from different countries to solve a single Rubik's Cube together. And this video also did very well, as it was a very unique idea that has never been done on YouTube before. But again, he didn't really see this as a thing to make as a job. He just saw it as a simple hobby. Post-college, Nas landed a job at Venmo where he was earning $120,000 a year as an engineer. Now, adjusting for inflation, that would be around $180K in today's money. He lived in New York City during this time and essentially lived the dream life. He was partying in the greatest city in the world every single week, and he was making more than double what the average person in America made straight out of college. Nas was living the life, man. But it was when Nas turned 24 that he realized that he just genuinely was not happy. The money, the success, the city lifestyle, it wasn't really doing that much for him. Looking at how the average person dies at 76, Nas realized that he lived nearly a third of his life and just simply did not like it. And it was around this time that Nas was inspired by YouTuber Casey Neistat, one of the most popular and influential vloggers at the time. Casey completely changed the game of YouTube when he was dominating. Casey's whole entire motto was to make every single moment of your life count, and he basically demonstrated that by posting these extremely high quality vlogs daily. Casey was a huge inspiration to his many fans, and Nas was one of them. He loved the style of videos and how it inspired people to really take life by the balls. So after 1.5 years at his job, Nas decided to quit. He was now going to live his dream of traveling the world. He didn't have a plan, but he did have a goal of somehow finding a way to fulfill himself. And inspired by Casey Neistat, Nas would decide to actually do his own daily style of vlogs. For 1,000 days straight, Nas vowed that he was going to post a 1-minute video onto his Facebook account. These videos were essentially going to be documenting his travels.
Here's the idea. Once a day, I'm gonna make one video that's 1 minute long. That's it. In New York City, off to Egypt today, Kenya, Ethiopia, India, then Nepal, then Japan, and then all the way to San Francisco, and then back home to New York City.
Every single day, Nas would find something to talk about, whether it was the food he ate or a certain person he met or something interesting that he found about a country that he was in at the time. Anything that he found interesting was going to be the topic of that video for the day. The videos would take 10 hours to make, with 7 hours of just filming and 3 hours of editing. But there was just one problem. The videos kind of sucked. Nas didn't have a ton of experience making these videos and was very obviously an amateur. And so for 9 months, Nas saw absolutely no results until day 270, where he made a video talking about the Philippines. In this video, Nas talked about how, to his surprise, the Philippines were actually extremely fluent in English. It's actually like as if he was still in America.
When you think of English-speaking countries, you think of Australia, the United Kingdom, and the US. But what you don't think of is the Philippines.
The Filipinos speak such good English that it makes me
I feel like I never left the United States. Here I am eating McDonald's, taking Ubers, and enjoying the beautiful skyscrapers of Manila just like I would do in New York.
This video was very complimenting to the Philippines and got millions of views. This was Nas's sign to keep going with the content as it was finally going somewhere. Now, why did he initially post on Facebook instead of YouTube? YouTube was more monetizable and could find more people and had a lot more opportunities with it. I mean, who the fuck posts on Facebook anymore? But the reason was because all of Nas's family and friends were on Facebook, and those were really the people he was making these videos for. And honestly, I completely get it. So how did Nas support himself when making these videos if he wasn't making any money off of it? Well, for a while, he depended completely on the money that he saved up while working at Venmo and lived very minimalistically. And slowly over time, he was able to gain opportunities for other side gigs with the promotion of his videos. And as Nas stayed consistent, his following really started to take off. By the end of 2017, he had over 4 million followers on Facebook. And what really made him gain such an audience so quickly was his professional editing style that was very similar to Casey Neistat, his upfront presentation, his very interesting and unique topics, and also translating his video to multiple language, which was a very, very big help. And by the end of the series in 2019, Nas had over 12 million followers on Facebook. And at this point, Nas started to rake in $80,000 from all of the opportunities that were coming in. So quitting his job was definitely the best move for sure. And it was that same year that Nas finally made the move to YouTube as well. And this is where he really started to take off. Now, given that he was already very experienced in making videos and he already had a pretty big platform, his videos on YouTube took off pretty quickly. It was on here that he posted his 1-minute series along with longer versions of his other videos. That same year, he posted his most popular video to date where he visited North Korea and he showed the dark, honest, brutal conditions of the country. And as we all know, North Korea is basically a living hellhole that starves its citizens. Nas did something that not a lot of other content creators have the balls to do, and by going directly into the country, literally filming and interviewing citizens. Considering it got over 30 million views, it did pretty fucking well. And tons of his other videos took off as well. A story about a man who created a chemical solution for pollution in his local lake. A mountain in Armenia that literally defies gravity. A guy who was the real life Tarzan. Nas made videos that were interesting, inspiring, and straight to the point. And these videos all really shared the theme of living life to the fullest and doing good for humanity. Nas literally knew how to make almost anything interesting. Even a simple video about some random guy he met that roller skates throughout the city, he was able to make that extremely interesting and inspiring. And that video got over 16 million views. Nas was really living the dream and finally got to say that his life was amazing. His success continued into 2020 even when the world was burdened by COVID. A person like Nas was the perfect breath of fresh air during a very dark time in history. And this essentially gave Nas exactly what he wanted in life. Millions of subs, millions of dollars, and even a nice girlfriend. Nas even started the Nas Academy, which was essentially an online school for fellow creators. It seemed like he was completely unstoppable until 2020 when he got caught faking a charity. Now on Facebook, Nas claimed that he was starting a charity for the East Jerusalem Hospital Network, which had multiple stations in Palestine. Obviously, he was trying to do a charity to basically give back to his community in some type of way. The charity did super well and raised $70,000. However, the hospital themselves released on Facebook that they were never associated with Nas and never had any contact with him. And soon after this, Nas deleted the initial Facebook post promoting the charity, and there didn't seem to be any updates on this. What he did with the money, whether he kept it or possibly secretly gave it away, is completely unknown. Now, this controversy did get swept under the rug and wasn't really talked about that much, but what Nas did get caught with was trying to exploit an elderly woman. You see, on July 16th of 2021, Nas posted a video about the world's oldest tattoo artist, a 103-year-old tattoo artist named Apo Wang Od. She was very well known in the Philippines for giving tattoos in these very ancient minimalistic tools, not using any of the modern machines you see today. It was a pretty standard Nas Daily video about a very interesting story, and he even announced that he would have Wang Od be a teacher on the Nas Academy. It was advertised that she was going to be teaching her ancient practices to people who were interested in learning. Sounds pretty sick and is a win-win for everybody. Nas gets his business some promotion, Wang Od gets to teach and gets paid for it, and people who are interested in learning how to give tattoos this way get to learn the proper skills. However, there was just one problem. Apparently, Wang Od never actually agreed to any of this. One of Wang Od's nieces would reveal on Facebook that this was a complete scam. Wang Od Academy is a scam. My grandmother did not sign any contract with Nas Daily to do any academy. Some people are taking advantage of our culture. Please help us stop this disrespect to the legacy of Apo Wang Od and the Butt tribe. This was a pretty big shocker because no one thought that someone so wholesome would willingly take advantage of an elderly woman like this, and especially for profit. Now, Nas was quick to respond to the controversy, claiming that this was not the case. We approached Wang Od because just like you, we love her. We love her traditions and are inspired by her. We want to share her culture for future generations to appreciate the ancient Kalinga tradition of Mambatak. So we pitched her family the idea of creating Wang Od Academy. Her and her family present both loved the idea and have worked with to build it, with Wang Od teaching herself. As a matter of fact, Wang Od's niece, Estella Palangdao, was present and translated the content of the contract prior to Wang affixing her thumbprint. This is the clearest evidence that this is not a scam and achieved the consent of her and her immediate family. He even included a video of Wang Od signing the contract with her thumbprint with her niece present in the video. Seems like a solid response, but this was just more deception, as Wang Od's niece herself would also later confirm that it was a scam. Hello everyone, Wang Od Academy is not real. I spoke to her and she said she did not understand what the translators were saying. I am sorry to tell you she will not be joining Nas Daily. I know you have good intentions of sharing our culture to the next generation. However, our village concerns that some people are profiting and exploiting our culture. I know you spoke to someone and gave money and will share profits, but Apo Wang Od is not aware of your contract. Hope you sort this out. This was not received well by the public at all, as Nas was essentially being a culture vulture to boost his profits. And this controversy caused other teachers who were in Nas Academy to drop their courses as well, because they did not want to get involved in that shit. And as you can tell, this definitely damaged the business to some degree. And if this wasn't bad enough, Nas would get exposed by more people coming forward. You see, in 2019, Nas worked with a woman named Louise Mabulo, who is the founder of the Cacao Project. Now, this project was made to essentially help deforestation by providing farmers with education and tools in the Philippines. It was a heartfelt project dedicated to doing good, and Nas did a video on it, or at least he filmed a video on it and never ended up posting it. You see, 2 years later, Louise actually revealed on Facebook that Nas never intended to post the video and actually made lots of racist statements against Filipino farmers. Things like, why are Filipinos so poor? He was also extremely disrespectful to her while staying at her house. He ended up scrapping the video completely because he did not think that it would perform very well on his channel. He thought a video about farmers would be too boring. I've worked with journalists, documentary makers, and professors who have seen my work, interviewed me, and even featured us, and I've had no negative experience that could ever brush up to what I saw that day. Blatant discrimination of my people, no regard for local customs or culture, and he built a story in his mind without meaningfully understanding the context of what he was going to cover. This presented a much different side of Nas. For one, lots of viewers felt betrayed by his racism and blatant discrimination of the Philippines. Nas's whole entire brand and content started with the Philippines. Without them, he probably wouldn't be where he is today. They took up a pretty big part of his audience, so for him to just simply exploit their culture for views rather than actually care about making a difference was a pretty big fuck you to them. This controversy made Nas lose over 500,000 followers on Facebook, the platform that he initially blew up on. Nas would make a response video to the situation, but it would not help him.
Over the past week, there has been a lot of fake news about Nas Daily.
Nas Daily is a liar. Nas Daily hates the Philippines.
That's why today, I want to talk about Nas Daily in the Philippines.
Because more than half of the video was literally just Nas congratulating himself on all the difference he made in the Philippines, as well as the app he started and getting an award for tourism without actually addressing the situation. He later claimed that the Cacao Project was completely fake. It wasn't a non-profit like it was claimed to be, but actually a for-profit project. Hence why he didn't post the video.
Every time we make a video, there is a chance that it is fake. And one day, unfortunately, we stumbled upon a fake story in the Philippines, which is the Cacao Project. On paper, it was supposed to be a non-profit that helps farmers. In reality, it's a for-profit that exploits farmers. We said we cannot do this video in good conscience. We cannot show you things that we are not confident of.
But this was not received well, as it had his very over-the-top 1-minute daily type of style editing, and people just didn't really seem to believe it. It seemed narcissistic and deceptive. Nas ended up deleting the Facebook post and the apology video, and while it may seem like this actually took a hit on his brand, this actually was one of Nas's best years ever. Nas took a hit on Facebook, but on YouTube, he was exploding, and that was because of the recent new feature, Shorts. You see, that year in 2021, YouTube introduced Shorts to compete with TikTok, and this feature was absolutely perfect for Nas's 1-minute daily videos. He started posting all of these videos onto his Shorts algorithm, and they absolutely exploded. It was the perfect content for that type of algorithm, and he gained over 10 million subscribers from doing so. The controversy did absolutely nothing for his growth that year, he was still making millions of dollars and getting millions of views.
You made $80,000 a month in 2018. How much did you make last month?
I think the range, like all of Nas,
Yeah.
probably $500,000 to $600,000
A month.
something like that.
Profit.
Not in profit, in revenue. In revenue,
yeah.
yes.
For the rest of 2021, he was on a complete hot streak, which continued into 2022. You see, in 2022, Nas would post the video World's Most Generous Billionaire, which seemed like an awesome concept, but in reality, this video aged like milk in the hot sun. Now, why is that? Well, you see, the generous billionaire in question was Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah, the same guy who did all those crimes and is in the same prison as Diddy.
Okay, the guy you see next to me is the most generous billionaire in the world, and I found him.
Hi, my name is Sam, and this is my story.
Sam has crazy hair. Sam is vegan. Sam sleeps 5 hours a night. Sam lives in the Bahamas with 10 roommates. Sam is 29 years old only, but Sam has $22 billion.
And he wants to donate all of it to charity.
In this video, Nas talks about how Sam is like this super humble guy who wears cheap clothes, drives a cheap car, and plans to give away all of his money to charity. He talks about Sam like as if he's the second coming of Jesus. How he's gonna donate all of his money to climate change and to preserving wildlife and trying to make the world a better place.
I wanted to get rich not because I like money, but because I wanted to give that money to charity.
This 29-year-old guy donated $50 million. Next year, he's planning to donate $500 million a year. And next decade, he will probably give away more than $10 billion. And he is funding everything you can think of. Global warming,
It's one of the biggest problems that we have to tackle together as a world.
COVID-19 preparedness,
We have to be ready for the next pandemic.
neglected tropical diseases,
More than 1 billion people suffer from them. We have to eliminate these diseases.
and of course, animal welfare.
Animals deserve to live just like we do. It's also why I'm vegan.
I remember seeing this video when it came out and thought, wow, this is such an amazing guy. We need more people just like him. And not too long ago, we saw just how Sam was basically none of these things at all. With all the fraud he committed, he made lots and lots of people lose all of their hard-earned money. It's forever going to be one of the most insane crypto scams of all time, and Nas basically contributed to it. Nas essentially promoted Sam as this great guy, which encouraged people to go and support Sam's business. Now, Nas would delete this original video and post a video that completely addressed the controversy. But rather than just simply apologizing for promoting Sam and promoting FTX, he actually doubled down and talked about how good charity was for the world and how he still believed in crypto.
I feel sad for the customers and my friends. I feel sad for the world of crypto. I still believe in it. And also, I feel sad for the world of philanthropy. Now, Twitter is full of people saying charity giving is a scam. Be careful of philanthropic people. Be careful of anyone that wants to donate his wealth. This is affecting real charities out there.
And yeah, obviously doing charity is good for the world and all, but this felt very off topic because I wasn't really the takeaway of the original video. It's kind of like as if Nas was just deflecting. This video was definitely not received very well at all and made Nas very less trustworthy. And what's even crazier is that this happened not once, but twice! Because the same year he posted the video, Most Humble Crypto Billionaire, talking about the crypto billionaire CZ who became extremely rich off creating the platform Binance. And for those that don't know, Binance was like this crypto exchange platform. It's some fancy schmancy crypto talk, you get the point.
He made over $60 billion, but his mom still called him stupid. Let me tell you his incredible story.
And similar to Sam, he painted CZ as like this super humble guy who came from nothing and worked really hard to get super rich, while also painting him as like this very down-to-earth guy who wears cheap clothes and doesn't really show off all of his money.
It's not about making money. In fact, CZ doesn't care about money. Look at his clothes.
Priceless.
He has no fancy clothes or cars, and he plans to donate his wealth to charity. This story is about conviction.
Well, that same super humble and down-to-earth guy was also exposed for doing a ton of illegal shit to basically get his business off the ground, and was not many of the things that Nas painted him as. And oddly enough, this video was not deleted by Nas, nor did he post anything addressing the situation at hand with it. Now, did Nas genuinely not know about these guys being scammers? Now, before all of this, Nas has always openly talked about his support of crypto, and I genuinely do not think that he really knew that these guys were as shady as they were. Clearly, lots and lots of people didn't think these guys were scammers either, so I think it's pretty safe to give Nas the benefit of the doubt with that one. However, intentional or not, Nas did contribute to these guys getting a platform and contributed to their scamming, and he didn't really take accountability for it. But the other possible issue with this is that there's a very small chance that these videos might have been secretly sponsored by these guys. Nas actually went on a podcast and actually talked about how he doesn't openly always disclose his sponsors in some videos. So some of the people that he paints in this positive light are actually secretly paying him money, and he straight up just does not disclose it.
Sometimes we get a brand deal in which I have to go on the spot for one full day and make a video about a person. So
Oh, wow.
those take full days.
Interesting. So sometimes the characters that are in your video are actually paid sponsorships.
Sometimes, yes.
Do you say that in the video?
So it's actually like less than 3% of the content. And we do not say that because, well, one, in the post, it's when we say thank you to XYZ, blah, blah, for making this possible. Two, it's like, we don't live in America. So you don't actually have to say it.
And he said that his reasoning for not disclosing it is because he doesn't live in America where they don't require him to do that. Even though YouTube is literally an American company, so you have to follow the terms and service no matter what country you live in. The rules don't just magically unapply to you if you live somewhere else. So essentially, we don't know if he's talking about a certain subject, whether he actually wants to and believes in it, or if he's actually being paid to do it. Maybe Sam and CZ were one of those customers. And regardless, not disclosing sponsors is just a pretty shitty thing to do. It was actually that same year Nas was confronted by YouTuber Avi Yemeni. God, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this guy truly showed Nas's ego in action. Now, he's always been pretty critical about Nas on his channel. And so when he saw Nas in person, he actually asked him about his belief in climate change and actually pointed out some of his hypocrisy. If he believes in climate change so much, then why is he using jets to get around? Jets and airplanes are one of the biggest contributors to climate change. But when asked about this, Nas couldn't give any answers and just simply ran away rather than maybe accepting the criticism.
Nas, how you doing, mate?
Good, man. How are you? How are you?
Tell us.
Nice to meet you, everybody.
Do you think it's cool that you're standing here and you're being employed, like you're getting paid by the World Economic Forum to promote their product?
I'll tell you what's cool. This is the video. How are you guys? Give me. You know what's really cool is that all this was done for no money.
You did it for free.
For free, my
so
friend.
You're willing to sell yourself for free.
I'm selling myself for free because I have opinions, and I agree with those opinions.
You push the climate change agenda. You push a lot of these agendas, these woke agendas. But here, what's the
friend? We've done more for climate change than you have.
Here, what have you done?
We've done.
How did you get here?
We've done more for climate change than you have.
How did you get here?
Okay, see you later.
Nas, how did you get here? How did you get here? How many in your entourage? How'd you get here? What's your carbon footprint? Nas Daily.
How are you, man?
I'm Israel. Hi.
Do you eat meat?
I eat meat.
What's your footprint?
But I'm not the one here. I'm not the one standing here pretending that I stand for all these things.
I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
But you do, mate. You do. There you go. The biggest hypocrite on YouTube. You want the truth, though? Rebel News.
Nas would actually address this on his channel, calling Avi a guilt activist. Someone who simply makes people feel bad to support causes rather than actually wanting to make any change.
My friends, welcome to guilt activism. It's a new type of activism that is designed to make you feel guilty. It doesn't care about solving problems in the real world, it just cares about making you feel guilty.
Nas, how did you get here? How did you get here?
At Nas Daily, we don't want you to hate anybody.
A couple months later, out of extreme pettiness, Nas would actually interrupt Avi interviewing the Prime Minister of Luxembourg and completely ruined the interview for him.
And we exchange here. It's important. We have several meetings a year. We have once the UN General Assembly, where we are able just
So is he annoying
politics.
you? Is he annoying you?
No, it's still okay.
Okay, because
This is Nas Daily. He's a listen, Nas Daily.
this guy's annoying. Be careful of this guy. He's annoying.
I was a lawyer before. If you need some help.
Wait.
Ali,
What law? Nas might need criminal help. Nas, come here. 2 questions.
I'm good.
Wait.
Bro, I know you are.
Hold on. You said.
I know you are.
Hold on, Nas.
This was just very unnecessary and immature. Like, what was the fucking point of this? But the very next next year in 2023, it would just get even worse for Nas. Because in 2023, Nas would actually alienate a very, very big part of his audience. Remember how I said Nas was Israeli and Palestinian? Well, for a long time, people did ask for his opinion on the very obvious issues going around with that. And so in 2022, a year before October 7th, he actually did post a video giving his stance on the matter.
My solution is simple. Bring people together, not apart. This is why we make these videos. This is why we support the many Israelis who want peace and the Palestinians who need peace.
But he didn't really say that much. Lots of people didn't like what he said because they felt like as if it was too neutral. And there's nothing wrong with being neutral per se, but what he said just didn't really have a lot of substance to it. He didn't really take a stance on anything or actually come up with any issues for a solution. He just simply said what he thought would be as most appealing to as many people as possible. Granted, almost any opinion on the situation would get you some type of backlash in any way, considering it's one of the most controversial topics that any of us will see in our lifetime. And vouching for peace is something that I think almost anyone can agree with, so it wasn't really that bad. But what made things so much worse was when, after October 7th, Nas had some different opinions to say. On Twitter, Nas talked about the issue and claimed that he was actually Israeli first and Palestinian second. And as you can imagine, this got lots of divided responses. But not too long after, Nas was spotted in NYC literally saying, "Fuck Israel."
Yeah, fuck Israel.
Fuck what you say? Fuck Israel, sir.
We love Israel.
So obviously a very conflicting thing going on here. In the midst of trying to appeal to both sides, Nas pissed off both sides. Now in 2024, Nas would piss off his Arab fans a lot harder when he posted the video about how he studied Islam for a whole month and how it made him bald. Now this video was part of a series where he studied each religion for around a month. He did this for Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, almost all the religions you can really think of. Islam was the last one, and this one was the only one that really got a ton of criticism, mostly because of all of the misinformation and how he was almost mocking the culture. Now this was really broken down by YouTuber Smile to Jenna, who pointed out a lot of the inaccuracies in Nas's video.
I spent one full month studying my religion, Islam.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, hold your horses right there. He spent an entire month. That's what he said, yeah. Learning my religion. Yeah. So religion he believes in, he spent an entire month learning it, yeah.
For the first time in my life, I shaved my head completely just to make a point.
Okay, this was a bit random, but why would you shave your head to make a point? And especially if you say this to a Muslim's thinking, huh? We shave our heads after pilgrimage because this was an act of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and this is something that we replicate. And you should also know the importance of intention, that the intention has to be correct for it to be accepted by God, not doing it to make a point.
Now considering a huge portion of Nas's audience was Arab, and considering that Muslims take up literally a quarter of the earth, this definitely was not a good thing for him to do. And around this time, some of Nas's employees were also leaving and coming forward with some of the brutal conditions of the company. Lots of this came from the excess of work. Was an intern at Nas Daily Singapore back in 2021. Was the worst internship I ever had. The employees were actually really nice and talented, but we were obviously exploited by the company. Pay was low, working hours were long, and management was just so messy. My direct supervisors were a nightmare and were super toxic. I was screamed at and asked to edit subtitles for over 81-minute videos a day. When I didn't hit my target, I was questioned ruthlessly and asked why I was so slow. I skipped lunch for 4 months and lost so much weight because I was trying my best to hit my targets. But my supervisors literally said improvement doesn't matter if you're still not hitting your target. Anyway, the company mainly hires foreigners because it's easy to take advantage of us when we don't know our employee rights. Interns didn't get paid leave while I was there. And my ex-colleague even told me that interns supposedly had to answer his calls even at 3 AM on the weekend. Honestly, Nas seemed like such a nice guy while I was working there. So seeing all these videos do make me feel disappointed because it seemed like he wasn't the person I thought he was. And as if this wasn't already bad enough, Nas's personal life would really start to get affected by this because his girlfriend of 7 years would break up with him. Nas's views were tanking and he was losing fans all across the world. He couldn't avoid this controversy anymore and he realized that he had to speak up about it. And so he finally did, and it went fucking horrible. Now he did make a video where he responded and addressed almost every single criticism, but he doesn't really apologize for anything or admit to any wrongdoing of any kind. kind. He doesn't provide any evidence or anything to back himself up in any way possible. Now with the Wang An situation, he just simply says that he was never taking advantage of the culture. He claims that her cousin only spoke up because she wasn't involved on the deal, and the person that he did work with was completely satisfied with how the business went.
It wasn't the person we worked with that was angry, it was her cousin, because she wasn't part of the deal. And of course, if you're not part of the deal, you feel left out, and so you have to feel like something's wrong. But the actual person we worked with was happy.
But he doesn't really say who this person was, nor shows any proof of this at all. The person that he's talking about didn't say anything, and he also never really addresses how he sold a misleading course that Wang An never agreed to. When talking about the Cacao project, he completely stands on how it was a for-profit project and not non-profit, hence why he'd never posted the video.
I arrived there, to be clear, this is all not paid. I arrived there and I realized it's not for profit, it's for profit. It's all for profit, and it is like not as truthful as it shows on the internet. So I said, I am not going to do this video. I am sorry, but this is fake news, and I left. Unfortunately, she got angry, and unfortunately, she was like, again, Nas Daily exploiting the culture in the Philippines for views and clicks.
But again, doesn't show proof of this, doesn't really elaborate much on it, and it's not really helping the claim that he simply ditched the video only for views. He's not really doing much to support this at all, it's just really generic statements. With the Sam Bankman-Fried video, he claims that he did not know about all the shady shit that was going on and was not paid to promote the video. Again, further standing on his decision to promote Sam rather than admitting that it was a mistake.
Look, I mean, the truth is that when Nas Daily talks about new ideas, it's always going to be a risk. Right, it's always going to be a risk that it's not as it seems because it's cutting edge, right? It's new.
He even tries to make himself seem like a victim of all of the hate that was coming from the controversy.
But for some reason, Nas Daily was the one to pay the price. But again, this shows you how context makes it gives a different opinion, a different viewpoint on the same facts that you think Nas Daily is evil for.
And while it is unfair to claim that he completely knew about how Sam was being a complete scammer, Nas did make the video with the intention of making these guys seem like good people. That was the real problem. It was literally because of Nas's video that I personally thought that Sam was like the modern day prophet of billionaires. So he can't even apologize for making a simple mistake. All he had to do was just simply say sorry and admit that he fucked up, but he couldn't do it. And he noticeably did not include the allegation where he quite literally admitted to the fact that he does not disclose sponsors. Now my theory is that he didn't say this specifically so that the YouTube guidelines wouldn't see it and then terminate his channel. Now with the Israel and Palestine situation, he talks about how he wants to use his channel to promote peace and really encourage his viewers to have nuanced thinking.
Nas Daily is not designed to make you angry. Nas Daily is designed to make you think, have a nuanced objective, and actually make you optimistic about the world. And when it comes to Israel, I am optimistic about Israel and Palestine.
And yeah, those are great messages and all, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't talk about the actual criticism at hand here where he was having conflicting statements. And then in this video, he's just saying, I want to have peace in the Middle East.
We're always looking for peace, for two states, for two people. And because of that, you become the villain. Because peace is not popular. It's not popular to call for peace.
And yeah, that sounds cool, but it doesn't really actually delve into any actual opinions. It doesn't say anything on how to achieve this peace or anything. It's just a generic statement meant to satisfy both sides. Now, in the final part of this video, Nas directly calls Avi himself on the phone in this segment where he confronts his haters. It is a cool part of the video, a little awkward, but pretty nice to see them talking humanely. But even with this, the video was still a pretty terrible attempt to try and redeem himself in any type of way. He dodged nearly all the criticism that people had against him and avoided very certain topics, including the Muslim issue. He dodged nearly all of the actual criticism that was being thrown against him, didn't take any accountability, didn't admit to any wrongdoing, and basically just glazed himself the entire video. It was the most egotistical shit I think anyone could have possibly have done. It's almost impressive how egotistical the video was. And the worst part of the video is actually what he didn't include. He obviously doesn't talk about the fake charity because it didn't get enough controversy for him to actually need to address it, but he never addressed address the biggest controversy of all, which was the Muslim issue. This was literally one of his most recent and biggest controversies yet. So there's no way he just casually forgot to put this in his video. This was really one of Nas's last chance to redeem himself in some type of way, and he fucked it up. If his mission was to try and prove the allegations wrong, well, he didn't really do a good job of that. It only further insisted he had a chip on his shoulder and further inflated his ego. He showed no proof of what he was claiming. To make things worse, Nas really did anything he could to stand on this. For one, he posted a video titled "Why 2024 was the best year of my life," sort of trying to act like as if none of this controversy completely bothered him in any way. He even posted a yearly recap on Twitter where he claimed to have a giant return on investment this year. Now, how true this is, I don't know. I'm not his accountant. I don't fucking know. Based on view stats, his AdSense heavily has decreased. Most likely, his Nas Academy business has lost a lot of business over the years. Or maybe it hasn't. I can't imagine it's grown. If this year didn't make him take a huge hit in revenue, well, then this year definitely will make a hit. Now, under one of the videos that talked about this controversy, Nas straight up left a comment. "Damn, this video has a good script, good edit, and lots of effort. You earned a subscriber." It seems to be a little sarcastic almost. Kind of like as if he's just trying to play it off, but in reality, it kind of just makes him look a little desperate. And Nas clearly cannot take criticism well because he actually copyrighted another video that talked about all of these issues. YouTuber Adrox, who did make a video on Nas, posted on Twitter claiming that Nas copyright claimed him. "I need your help. Nas Daily copyrighted my video on him for a 30-second clip that falls under fair use. I credit him properly, but now he's silencing a small YouTuber just for giving criticism. All the revenue goes to him. This man can't take criticism anymore, at Team YouTube." Now, as many of you know, false copyright claims on YouTube are a felony with the internet. We have often seen big YouTubers try and silence small creators by simply trying to abuse their power and make false copyright claims. And usually they do this against videos that try and talk negatively about them. They're rarely ever actually on videos that unfairly use their content. It's something that Brent Rivera did that made him seem like a giant crybaby. And if Nas Daily really was behind this and not some crappy agency, that's a pretty big problem. Because now he's trying to use his big platform to silence smaller creators who simply just criticize him, instead of actually, I don't know, taking accountability? Now, let me say this. Even with all this, I don't think Nas is a terrible person per se. I think Nas genuinely started off his journey with good intentions to make a difference in the world. And once the money and the clout and the power all came in, he started to slowly lose his way. As many people do. There's nothing I personally would love to see more than for Nas to make a total comeback. When I've personally found Nas back in 2021, I love the style of content that he made. It was generally some of the best stuff I've ever seen on YouTube. It was so unique, so fresh, so positive. I really thought that he was going to be at that Mr. Beast level of success. He was going to have a brand that was bigger than life, and he was really going to make a big change in the world. No one was doing exactly what he was doing, and that's what I thought was so cool. You don't really see a lot of YouTubers who really try and use their content for good anymore. I mean, look at my content. I'm not exactly Mr. Morale over here. So to see someone like Nas, who really was a beacon of hope in the community, become this very egotistical guy is just really sad, honestly. All creators mess up at some point. Heck, all people mess up at some point. It's completely okay. But what really matters is recognizing that you messed up, apologizing, and learning from it. But Nas didn't do that, and he's letting his own ego really hold him back from maximizing his potential. And now I'm really unsure if he actually can make a comeback from all of this. I really hope that Nas can watch these types of videos and see it as a guideline for how to fix his errors, rather than seeing it as haters who are throwing tomatoes at him and booing him off the stage. But I guess time will tell.